Good afternoon, everybody. This is episode 21 of the Topical Podcast. My name is Gardiner.
My name is Raven.
And the Pure OS store has its very first app, and it's going to be running on Flatpak. Plus, Google asked the federal government to remove the protections of their employees. And Chromium moves to undermine privacy extensions. All this and more today. So first thing on the news docket today, a couple people have brought this to my attention. Akira, the Linux design tool, is a project on Kickstarter right now. It has 216 backers and 37 days left to reach their funding goal. If you're not familiar with this, Akira is a user interface, user experience design tool. It's kind of like a mock-up process. It does vector-based design mock-ups, and it's pretty interesting. Well, have you seen this at all, Raymond?
I have. I saw it and I tweeted it to the developer because at first they were trying to, I was like, well, what's the difference between this and Inkscape? It was an honest question. Because, I'm not a graphics designer, so it was, a totally valid question. But it has a different purpose than Inkscape. Obviously, you could still use Inkscape, but this is more like, I guess, Illustrator?
This is more like Figma, Sketch, or Adobe XD, which I'm not familiar with any of those. I think they're proprietary.
They're all proprietary. We don't have a tool that's like this at all on Linux. Here we go. The main purpose of Akira, this is from the developer, by the way. The main purpose of Akira is to offer a fast and intuitive tool to create web and mobile interfaces more like Sketch or Figma, but native for Linux, while Inkscape is closer to Illustrator and Affinity Designer.
Yeah.
And that's fair enough. I mean, honestly, as far as I'm concerned, the more the merrier.
No, I completely agree. Tools that we have on our platform are like Glade and Qt Creator, according to the Kickstarter project. But they actually generate code used to make interfaces for GTK and Qt. Akira is more of a general design tool for those interfaces before they're actually implemented. So this is more of like a prototyping and mock-up visualization kind of deal. I think that this is a really awesome project. The designs, like the project mock-ups themselves look incredible. They very much fall in line with GNOME 3's design recommendations, which, if you know anything about me, I'm a huge fan of. And I just wanted to put this out there because they're like a fifth of the way to their funding goal, and I just wanted to get this news out there and tell everybody about this project because I think it deserves to be created. Next up, we have the Chromium developers are moving to deprecate core APIs used by ad blockers. I think you sent me this story, didn't you?
I did, and in fairness, it's Chrome doing it to Chromium.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because, Chromium literally piggybacks off of Chrome, and Google is looking to snip Chromium. So, because we already know they're going to kill in Chrome. Because, Google is just one big service industry.
Yeah.
They can't function without ad blockers. So, it's to be expected.
Right.
But the fact that they're going to kill a fork of their own technology is pretty staggering.
Is Chromium a fork?
Well, it's like what is it, Iceweasel or whatever? It's like Chrome without all the proprietary crap.
Yeah, I thought Chromium was like the base, and then like that was the open source thing, and then Google comes in and adds their proprietary crap to it and makes Chrome.
I have no idea.
It might be.
I don't use it.
Yeah, I don't either.
I could be wrong, but from what I've seen, or at least from what I've read off of this whole fiasco, it's Google is the one who's blocking it.
Right. I mean, even though Chromium is licensed under the MIT, I mean, it's essentially proprietary technology. They just have like little bits that they can afford to like open source. They're just pushing it out there. But I mean,
Yeah, you just
Chrome's
get like
charge.
the bare bones browser without all the extra sprinkles that allow like Netflix and other stuff to function properly.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you end up with like Google's in charge right now. They're in charge of Chromium, which is like why I find it so flabbergasting that that Microsoft is jumping on board the Chromium train. Like,
Yeah, I don't get that. Remember we discussed that in the previous podcast. They should totally just fork Firefox.
Agreed.
Because all they're doing is like, well, Chrome wins, so we're just gonna go use Chrome. Oh, okay. So you're just gonna let them win even harder. Super, guys. Like what?
Yeah, it's awful. The fact that
why don't they just bundle Chrome? Just abandon Edge and just bundle Chrome. Because I mean,
that's basically what they're doing anyway.
They're gonna re-implement all the stuff that Chrome has anyway in order to function properly.
Yeah.
So what is the point? Like I don't get it. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean,
very confusing.
If you read the bug tracker on the Chromium bug report system, basically what's happening is like the API that uBlock Origin and a lot of other like tools use to actually intercept GET requests for web resources, they're actually deprecating that, and they're implementing a new interface for extensions to actually connect with. But one of the things that's so crazy about this new interface is that it limits the number of rules that can be applied by any one extension to 30,000 rules, which according to I don't have his name right here in front of me. Very prepared, Gardiner. What's his name? Raymond Hill, who is the developer of uBlock Origin. According to him, 30,000 rules is nowhere near enough rules to actually perform uBlock Origin requests, like to actually ensure privacy. So the fact that they're creating this new API that's literally crippling these extensions that are trying to provide privacy to their users, I mean, I understand why Google's doing it. They make their money from advertising.
Yeah.
But it's like, what about the DuckDuckGo privacy extension? And I mean,
that's not gonna probably work anymore either.
No, it probably won't. And it's like, they're doing it for a reason, and it's because they want to invade your privacy. I mean, they don't even allow. I think what it is that Google doesn't allow extensions on mobile, and they want to just get rid of extensions completely, because why should the user have control over the software they run on their PC?
I wonder if this will affect Firefox as well, because
right,
Firefox uses the Chrome extension stuff now, and if they change that, of course Firefox could also say, hey, we're not rolling up to that version. So
right, or they could.
But I remember the big fiasco. People were like, why are you doing this? And they're like, yeah, we're doing it. And it was probably part of their deal. Like, when they get Google ads back, when they switch back from Yahoo back to Google.
Right.
It was probably part of the deal because, that's kind of the way it works. You gotta give a little.
Well, what about like Brave and the other like Chromium-based browsers that are,
They should all break as well.
I know. Yeah.
On the other hand, though, Brave uses its own stuff for that, so it might not break them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, of course, like this extension or this API that all these extensions are using is going to be deprecated, but that doesn't mean that the forks can't continue to implement that API. And same with Firefox. I mean, Firefox conforms to the Chrome extension standard. But that doesn't mean that because Chrome has closed this one exposed API that the rest of the people.
Oh yeah, and there's been a lot of backlash. And another thing to keep in mind, this issue that has been opened is for the future, and it's only a draft.
Right.
So it is entirely possible that it will not be implemented.
Yeah. That's why
Which
we
is
need to
something that's
bang the
important to
pots
note.
and pans and
Yeah,
make
exactly.
a ruckus about it. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I think they're kind of pulling like a Unity now.
Yeah.
Because they are. Oh, also another thing to point out, they have blocked a lot. They have deleted a lot of comments, and I honestly don't feel for a second that many people were like rude or anything. I feel that this was more of just like a, I don't know. It just feels more like wrong speak.
Yeah.
People disagreed.
There is
and maybe people
suspicious
just got a
number.
little, maybe people got a little hot and heavy, but at the same time, you're kind of implementing something that's going to massively affect most users. So,
Right.
People getting a little angry, and, maybe telling you to, go screw off in a much more vulgar way. Yeah, you kind of expect that. And, in a way, you kind of deserve it.
Yeah. I'm just going to open up another issue on the bug tracker and we'll see how many comments are deleted from another just randomly picked one.
Yeah, this one has a lot. And I think it was a lot of people with like anti-Google garbage, which is,
Fair enough.
as far as I'm concerned, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, just find another issue that has like a lot of replies. That would be the easiest way to find it. But the funny thing is that this didn't really become that well known to a whole lot of people. And yet, then it did. And wow, when it did it get really big.
Oh yeah, this was covered on. I saw this covered on Wired. I saw this on TechCrunch. I saw this on another one that I read, ZDNet, and it's like, it was funny because like, I went to Wired.com, right, and I was reading the article there, and it was like, some people use ad blockers to block ads on websites that are obnoxious, and then at the very bottom it was like, looks like you're using an ad blocker. Turn yours off on our website. I'm like, no thanks, bro.
Yeah, I can't even use most news sites anymore because they're like, you have to disable your ad blocker, and I'm like, well, it was nice knowing you.
A lot of time when that kind of thing pops up, like a modal box will pop up in front of, covering the content. You can just hit Control-Shift-I and use the inspection tool and then remove it from the DOM. It's so simple.
Yeah, but it's just so annoying. But some put it behind like an actual like paywall, like it redirects you. Like the URL is kind of the similar. You know what I'm talking about? Or they redirect you to that stupid thing like you must disable, and it's like, ugh.
Yeah, I think it was Business Insider was doing that, where it would like, you would go to the page and then it was like, hey, we're gonna redirect you in 5 seconds, but first watch this ad. That kind of shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Or it redirects you and tells you to disable your ad blocker and then refresh. And I'm like, no.
Yeah. I don't know.
Fortunately, if you run no script, you can just stop that script from running and then it doesn't matter.
Right.
It's like,
no script is great.
It is great.
Yeah. What do you guys think? How do you think this move by the Chromium developers is going to affect other web browsers, including Firefox? Let us know in the comments below, or on the show notes. What's the show notes? Forum.heavyelement.io. There we go. Yeah. Profesh.
Wow.
It's fine. They know what to do. All right, so the PureOS store has its very first app, and the store is going to be based around Flatpaks. What say you, hater of Flatpaks, Raven?
Hey, in fairness, in my defense, because everybody here lately has been messaging me on Twitter with like stupid screenshots of how their Flatpak works. And all I can sit here and think of is, well, my Flatpaks don't work, so stop it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've had trouble with Flatpaks in the same vein you have.
Yeah,
and all the people who are trying to correct us, just because you haven't experienced what we have doesn't make our experience any less valid.
Yeah, and it's true. If I install something through the Ubuntu store and it's a Flatpak, it works.
Yeah.
But the problem is, maybe I would rather use, the Flatpak repository, and that is where it fails to work.
Yeah, in a lot of instances, I've like downloaded a Flatpak from like, GNOME.org or whatever, and I go to install
Doesn't work, does it?
it doesn't integrate the way I would expect it to.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, it works fine. It just doesn't integrate well.
Yeah.
But I
It's
mean,
like,
yeah, if you install, because what's his name? You know what? I'm gonna find him. I'm gonna shame him publicly on here. Where is he at? Where is he at? There he is. Cody the Dragon Rude
oh, yes.
at Raven67854. Flatpaks don't integrate, and he's using Kubuntu, which has Flatpak and Snap integration, and that's super. I'm
Yeah.
glad that it works for you. But again, we go back to my original point. If I'm using the store, yes, it does integrate right, because the store must do something separately. I mean, I don't know what it
Yeah.
is, but they do something separately.
I mean, I think it's dependent on the way it's actually packaged as well. But I'm not 100% sure. I'm not an expert by any means about Flatpak. The problem is, you know, if you install an app and it doesn't integrate into your system in like the GNOME Activities panel, you don't see the app that's installed there. That's an issue for me, and that's happened a couple times with Flatpaks. So, but what I'm really excited about is the fact that Purism's store for Pure OS for their phones, that's obviously going to be something that's solved with their Pure OS store. Very exciting stuff to me. I was actually kind of like worried that maybe the Pure OS store would install like DPKs or something. DPK? What am I?
Deb files?
Deb
Is that
files.
you're
That's what I
looking
meant. DPK, APK. I don't know what the
for?
hell
Well,
I'm talking about.
it really doesn't matter, but they need something that updates, so either they write their own custom thing or they use something like Snaps or Flatpak.
Yeah, I wouldn't
you know,
want
from the
like
get-go.
native OS packages through the store. Like I really wouldn't. Like I would. I
No,
want,
and
like,
it really
flat packs.
It really wouldn't work that well anyway, because remember, they're trying to be very agnostic.
Yeah.
You know, so they would have to write something, you know, like how Itch works, where, well, Itch doesn't provide runtimes and stuff. That's up to the developer, which the Pure OS store would also need to do.
Mm.
So we'll see how it ends up working out. But I think going with Flatpaks or Snaps, well, they went with Flatpaks, but either would have been fine.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good idea, because updating a Flatpak is a hell of a lot easier than updating a deb file.
Right.
And it's, you know, it's not like they can use like a PPA or something and everybody just put whatever they want on that. God,
Yeah.
that'd be terrifying.
No, thank you. No, I'm really excited about the Pure OS store because, you know, the first app that they're actually the first app that they've added to the store is the Lollipop, which is the GNOME GTK music app. Holy
Rhythmbox.
crap. I can't get behind Rhythmbox. That's too.
Did you see they're getting a new
UI is too
interface?
cluttered.
Did you see
No,
they're
I
getting a new
haven't seen that
interface?
actually.
They're getting a new interface, and guess what? It integrates in with the system. No more whatever. Yeah, that's right. It integrates. No, you have to see this because it's amazing. Because after years of not integrating, they're integrating.
Okay. That looks a lot better.
Yeah, because that's been my thing with Rhythmbox. It's like it never really looked like it used to look great. And now it's proper. It's how it should have been the whole time. How was it not like that to begin with?
Right. No. Yeah. What Raven's talking about is the client side decoration where you have, you know, the title bar at the top. In GNOME, a lot of GNOME apps now are doing user interface stuff in the client side decoration, and I think that it looks sexy. So this is actually pretty cool. I might be able to jump on this bandwagon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that means now it actually fits properly. It actually looks proper.
Yeah.
It doesn't look weird. Because it always felt out of place. And it's nice that Pure OS as well is going to kind of force people, it seems, to, you know, like to follow a standard, like any standard. It just has to follow one.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I don't care if you use KDE or if you don't use KDE, but, you know, if you use KDE, that's fine. They have their own standard. It's just, it needs some form of consistency.
Yeah, I agree. And the fact that Pure OS is saying GNOME is the standard, let's follow the GNOME human interface design guidelines. And I just think that that's wonderful. And, you can get KDE through, for your Librem 5 phone, but...
Oh, that's what I'll be doing.
Oh, I know. Yeah, absolutely.
First day, I'm going to take it apart and just install the... Have you ever used KDE's phone?
No, I haven't. No.
It's actually pretty good. In the defense, GNOME's is also sort of decent. I would say KDE's ahead, but I would say that Pure has really shot them forward with the extra work that they've put in.
Oh, definitely. I like just the fact that the Librem 5 phone is going to be an actual product means that there's a company putting money into developing and moving the human interface guidelines and all the other things that go along with GNOME's touch interface. That's just wonderful to me.
Yeah, it was always kind of okay on a tablet because, GNOME actually kind of works well on a tablet.
Yeah.
Almost as if it was designed to be on a tablet to begin with, which is disgusting, by the way. But, it's nice to see that, things are progressing forward. Also, as a side note to this whole GNOME thing, I got into a lovely, it wasn't very lovely, discussion with one of the Nautilus developers the other day.
Oh.
Yes. Because as you know, I am very outspoken about the fact that Nautilus is slowly turning into this waste of a program.
Yeah.
Because they keep removing features. I mean, even you have to be a little bit bothered by the fact they keep removing features and then they'll add it back. And then they'll remove it and then they'll add it back. Or it just stays gone forever. It's just, it's annoying. It was because GNOME is adding Google Drive integration to Nautilus. Did you know that?
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Which is just stupid.
Just
so stupid.
Is it like a generic thing that there's a plugin for Chrome that comes default for Google Drive, or is it just a Google Drive interface?
No, it's an extension that lets you sign in and connect and then have a native... you'll be able to browse your Google Drive natively from Nautilus, if it was on your system. You were browsing your own hard drive.
Okay.
It actually looks really cool. I mean, I wouldn't use it because I don't trust Google, and I don't know why anyone would in their right mind. But anyway, so I made a random offhanded comment about how that, this is kind of stupid.
Right.
Well, not that the integration was stupid, but that Nautilus keeps removing stuff. But then they'll remove stuff I don't know, the ability to launch executables, which before anyone says anything, I know that they added it back. I don't know if you knew that or not, but they did add that back.
Yeah.
Which is great because that's absolutely the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. What is the point of a file manager if all I can do, I guess it's literally becoming what the name is. All you can do is manage files. You can't do anything else.
Right.
Don't you remember the old days when you could right click Nautilus and create multiple files that wasn't just a text document?
Yeah.
The
good old
those days were nice.
We're becoming grumpy old men, you know
that. I know, that's the problem. That's why I like KDE. You know what happens when I right click on KDE inside of Dolphin?
No.
Beauty. I can create a LibreOffice document, an Excel document, all that good stuff.
Nice.
Can't do that in GNOME. I can open up a terminal. Actually, you can do that now on Ubuntu's. For some reason, Ubuntu took away the ability for a while to be able to launch a terminal at whatever location you were at inside of Nautilus. I have no idea why they did that. That's just weird. But whatever. That's a Ubuntu problem. I think that's another problem we have in the Linux world. GNOME makes something, and then Ubuntu will take it and then modify it, and then GNOME will get the flack for something that Ubuntu did.
Yeah.
But anyway, we had a brief conversation about some stuff, and also I didn't know Nautilus has a file it has an extension system. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, see, I didn't know that. So they moved some of the components to an extension, and I'm like, oh, you know what? That's fair enough. You know what? That is perfectly fair. It's still stupid, but that's fair.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, I didn't know they had that. And the app image guy actually came to my defense, and he was like, why should people have to do that?
Yeah. See,
because some of them you have to turn on.
Right. See, I like the idea of an app that provides a minimal amount of features for it to be like a complete thing, and then most of the other features that the developer wants to add that might be beyond the scope of the original thing are done as extensions. That seems like a cool idea to me. That's how Nextcloud does a lot of stuff. I really like that architecture, like that design philosophy. So, yeah, I mean, it doesn't bother me too much that they have like a Google Cloud extension, because you don't have to use it if you don't want it. You can remove it if you don't want it. But like, if you go into your settings and go to the online accounts section and you add like a Nextcloud sign-in, it can automatically add like a WebDAV link to your sidebar in Nautilus, and you can browse your Nextcloud installation, your Nextcloud file system, as if it was part of your file system. And I think that that's really cool. And so the idea of like adding your Google account and then being able to like browse your Google account through there, that's pretty cool too. But I don't like Google, so I don't want to use them.
Yeah, no, it's completely understandable. But back to the PureOS store and Flatpaks there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, slightly off topic. I think it's great.
Yeah, me too.
Like, I'm very stoked for it. I'm sorry that I confused everyone into thinking I hated Flatpaks because they're Flatpaks. I just don't like Flatpaks because I don't get good integration. And even when it does work, sometimes I have issues with like client-side decoration. Like I don't get any at all, so it just looks like an FLTK application, and it just grosses me out because it's 2018. No, sorry, it's 2019.
It is 2019.
Yeah, it's 2019, and I you know what? Honestly, I expect better.
Yeah,
Linux is not that scrappy little kid anymore.
Right.
It really isn't, and honestly, I feel that Linux has always kind of looked pretty good, in my opinion.
I agree. I think Linux has always been like at the forefront of like what desktop environment experience should be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Also, if you don't know what FLTK is, I linked it to you so you can see the glory. They have a screenshot page somewhere. You can find it. You'll see.
Oh, yes. Look at that.
I'll find it for you. FLTK.
Yeah.
The nice part about FLTK is that it uses probably no real resources at all. It's hideous.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is really hideous. But it is fast. It is so fast.
Wow.
It's still being worked on, by the way. Just so you know.
Yeah, apparently.
It's still being worked on.
I'm kind of... Wow, I find that fascinating.
Yeah.
The last push to their GitHub was 7 days ago. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's, yeah, they just keep working on it.
If you want to find a link to FLTK or anything that we've talked about, check out the show notes, forum.heavyelement.io. We like to have links to everything that we talk about. And when Raven sends me a private message with a link in it, I put it in the show notes. It's pretty cool. It's a good little system we have going.
It is, isn't it? It's great.
What do you think about the PureOS store? Do you think that it's awesome that they're using Flatpaks and that they're keeping the userland apps separate from the system apps? Let us know what you think. Send us an email. show@offtopical.net. Oh my God, this is scary. China is taking another irreversible step towards totalitarianism. What do you think about this one, Raven?
Another step? Dude, they've already been there.
Oh, well, I'm talking like complete totalitarianism.
Yeah, I know. They're already there.
There have been some people, let me just get this off my chest, who have said that when I called China fascist, I was wrong. I'm not wrong. Fascism is when corporate interests and public interests are like completely intertwined and there's no separating them. And that's obviously what's going on in China. Just wanted to let you guys know for all those.
Well, it's hard to tell if the corporations own China or if China owns the corporations.
Right, exactly.
I'm fairly certain China owns the corporations considering they have the military, but whatever.
Yeah. This is crazy. I can't believe that this is like a thing that's actually happening in the world in which we live.
I can't believe that there are people who are fine with it.
I know, right? Well, the people who made it, like, what the hell? If you don't know what we're talking about, The Independent is reporting that a high court in China is rolling out a GPS-powered map of so-called deadbeat debtors. The cute alliteration hides something that's completely sinister, in my opinion. It's a real-time map that shows the location of people who are in debt. And what's going on is it integrates with is it WeChat that they call it over there? It's like the popular chat platform, kind of like WhatsApp, but for China. And it's like it integrates with that, and they encourage people, like your average everyday citizen, to report debtors who might be what do they call it, shirking their responsibility to pay a debt back. So it's like, oh, you see someone standing within 5 feet of a location where there's a guy who's in debt and he's got nice shoes on, report him. It's like,
yep,
that's crazy to me. That's like divide and conquer, man. Like that's like turn everyone into like against everyone else. If you keep everybody fighting with each other, then they're not going to like fight the powers that be, you know?
Well, absolutely. But eventually, you run out of things for them to do because they just become zombies, and then you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, this is crazy. But this goes back to, their whole social score thing. Because if you read the article, and there are other articles, if you don't like The Independent, a quick DuckDuckGo search, and you can find tons of them. Because most outlets reported it. China has the social score.
Right.
And the thing is, journalists tend to have, in China, if they don't follow and toe the line, they have terrible social scores, which means they can't fly out of the country and escape.
Right. They can't get like a loan to like buy a house. They can't like get even like rent property in some instances. Like,
yeah, you end up in like really, terrible areas because your social score is too low and the landlord doesn't want to rent to you.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, it's all intertwined. So if you, associate with someone with a low score, it'll actually drag your score down.
Yeah.
Like it's so bad. You play too many video games, you'll have a bad social score.
Yep.
You spend too much time in an arcade, you have a bad social score. You eat too much, you have a bad social score. You go out to eat too much, bad social score. Like, good Lord. You spend forever in a library, you have good social score.
Yikes, dude.
They're literally determining what's good and what's bad.
The thing is, it's like, I feel like, well, actually, I got two anecdotes here. So the other day I was watching YouTube, and you make the mistake, right? You make the mistake of like clicking on one video, and then Google's like, oh, he liked that video? Maybe he'll like this video and this one and this other one. And then it just goes through this like autoplay rabbit hole. And then you like watch like 4 videos about Western people living in China, right? And that happened to me. I just like ended up like I was doing the dishes or something, and this one video came on and it played all the way through. And then so all this stuff, I get all these videos about Westerners living in China now. And one of the interesting things was this one guy, he was like on the street, and he was on the street and he saw that there was a guy who was like surreptitiously reaching into a woman's purse. Like he was stealing from her, right? It was obvious that's what he was doing, but she didn't know. And so he was like, hey, don't do that. Hey, what are you doing? Stop. And the woman turns around and the guy runs away, and she says, oh my God, thank you so much. I can't believe that you did that. That was so great of you. Like that guy was going to rob me. And so he went to work, and he was like, oh, I just stopped a burglary on the street. This guy was going to steal this woman's money or whatever. And everyone in his workplace was like, don't ever do that. You can't do that. Just ignore it. And it's like, you wonder why these kind of problems exist in China. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy to me that like people are unwilling to help each other over there. From what I've seen, I mean, I don't know. I've never lived there, but
people do help, but it's you don't see many people doing it publicly.
Yeah. I don't know. That just I find that kind of stuff fascinating. But the whole idea of like, this social score and how you get you get it like lowered or raised based on like your activities, dude, like that's not far off from like how the information that Google collects about everybody all day every day. It's like if Google wanted to implement that for Americans, they could do it in an instant.
You do know that, I don't mean to interrupt you here, but just to provide some extra have you the new version of reCAPTCHA by Google has a social score ranking? Did you see that?
I read something about that a couple months ago.
Yeah, I complained about it a couple months ago on Twitter because I thought it was absolute lunacy. Websites can set a social score, and it checks with Google, and if your social score, and this is in quotes by the way, is too low, it'll just fail you and you won't go in.
Wow.
But and as people were pointing out, where do you get this social score from? Because like, what if you literally don't have a Google account anymore? How do they determine your social score?
I feel like what I read was that they were returning some value between 0 and 1 based on how your browsing habits over the last like hour or whatever were. So based on like if it thinks you're a real person or a bot.
Yep, but you can set your site to like be like say 0.6. So anyone that's above 0.6 can enter. Like, right. But the problem is the vagueness of how they gather and store, because they're storing it, such a score.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And it's weird that it's called a social score. Like that's the part that's weird, right? Like if it was called like a bot score or something else, it'd be like whatever. It's just for bots, But they specifically call it social score. And then of course like a month or so later, because it's been quite a while since they announced that. And I think this was like right around the same time that Google announced that they're working on the new firewall and everything else for China. And it's like, I wonder if that's what it's for. Like, maybe that's not for the West. Maybe for the West, you check the box and you just go in. But maybe for China, that would matter. Maybe it literally checks your actual social score.
Yikes, dude.
I know. I mean, it's all speculation, of course, and could be completely wrong. I would like to be wrong. I would like to be that's just a really stupid way to word it. But I don't know. It just seems it's very weird to name it social score. It's very weird to me.
Yeah, this is interesting. I found the reCAPTCHA version 3 documentation with a quick search, and I'm gonna put that in the show notes if you want to read into that. It's pretty interesting stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's pretty good stuff.
This doesn't go into the details, I guess, but basically it tries to detect if it's a human or not on your webpage, and then returns a score based on if you're a human or not. But still, that creeps me the hell out.
Yeah, before it did say social score. It really did. But it's good that they changed it. It's really I don't have any issues with that. I mean you have an error, fix it. Not a big deal.
Right.
I still don't trust you, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't trust them as far as I can throw them.
Exactly.
What do you guys think? Do you think that this GPS map in China is a good thing or a bad thing? If you think it's a good thing, you might want to get your brain checked. Let me know. Let us know down in the comments. This is probably going to end up on YouTube. Let's move on to the next one, shall we? All right, so Google asked the government to strip their workers of rights that they've had for 9 years. This is interesting. Did you send me this? I think I saw this on Wired, actually.
No, I didn't see this until I was going through the show notes.
Yeah.
earlier today, and I saw it, and I was like, well, I'm not surprised, because what was the what was his name? I don't remember his name. The white dude who was fired because he dared to question Google. What was his name?
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name.
Yeah, whatever. His name's not important. But instances like that, because they wrong. I mean, regardless of, I can't even remember his name. See how little I care. No, that's not true. I do care. I just can't remember his name. Regardless of how you feel about that, he was wrongfully terminated.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be allowed to fire someone because of their beliefs. And I know that for some people they're going to be like, that's crazy. You suck, Raven. Well, you can think that, but honestly, you start that slippery slope, and where do you end up?
Yeah.
One day your beliefs might come into question. And I'm not talking like, if someone's like some, crazed ass neo-Nazi and they're running around telling everyone who's not white they should kill themselves, that's not the same thing as someone having a difference of opinion. That's a complete lunatic, and yes, they should be fired, but
Yeah.
I don't know. People just can't differentiate between things anymore.
Right. Well, yeah, James Damore. I just Googled his name.
Yes, that was his name.
Yeah.
But honestly, I'm not really surprised that they did this, because Google is an outright, completely insane company.
Yeah, they've gone off the deep end.
They've gone so far left that they are now just an authoritarian company that just must shut down anyone who disagrees with them.
Yeah.
You go too far in a political spectrum, you just end up in a very bad place.
Oh, definitely. I completely agree. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, Bloomberg actually was able to acquire some documents that Google's attorneys had filed with the National Labor Relations Board back in November, and again in early 2017, I want to say. Basically, what they did was they asked the National Labor Relations Board to overturn a ruling that they've had in place for about 9 years. And what the ruling said is that employees have a right to use their workplace email systems to organize around issues related to their job, right? So, back, what was it, in December, November, something like that? Or was it October, when they had, when the news came out about Project Dragonfly at Google, and like there was this mass protest that was organized by Google employees protesting the fact that Google was building a search engine for the Chinese market that would toe the Chinese government's censorship and suppression regime. Google employees didn't like the fact that that was happening, and so they organized using company email to stage a walkout across all the Google campuses across the entire world. And lots of people participated. And Satya Nadella said that he supported them. Not Satya Nadella, Sundar Pichai, right? He's the guy from Google. So Sundar Pichai says, "Oh yeah, I totally support my employees' rights to protest." But then, in November, his freaking legal team asked that Google should have the right to punish employees for using company resources to protest. I find that completely and utterly ridiculous. It's so gross to me that they would like. I don't know. What do you think about this, Raven?
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised.
You know my
either.
stance on most of this. I guess people on the podcast don't, but I am so not surprised that anyone, like Sundar Pichai, who's very heavy into politics, which is weird because he shouldn't be, is a completely, just two-faced. I'm not surprised at all.
No, not.
I am not even remotely surprised. I thought it was weird to begin with that he came out in support. So
yeah, well, it seemed pretty ingenuine to me. Like it was not something he did it to save face. I mean, it was like company, like total spin control, like damage control. Putting a spin on it.
Yeah. Well, honestly, and I know this is kind of tough and very difficult to do, but it would be nice if when corporations and governments acted like this, if people would just be like, well, fine, we're done.
Yeah.
And when
I
people
wish.
go, what do you mean we're done? We mean like, no, we're done. And just everybody just mass quit. Because Google would collapse overnight.
Yeah. If
So
like
would the internet.
Yeah. Maybe that might be a good thing for a minute.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. Like, take all the current federal employees right now who are, having issues because both sides are being dicks, equally being dicks, by the way. Before we even enter that, they're both being dicks equally, and both of them should just shut up and just pass not even a budget, just pay the federal workers. You know what? You want to keep arguing over the budget, whatever. Like, that's fine. You're that's the way the government's set up. That's fine. But you pay the people.
Pay the people who are doing the work. That's I mean, really, that only makes sense. And that's why they're not doing it.
But anyhow, not to get too political on here, but this is kind of a very politically sensitive topic because Google's coming out and they're like, Google's very anti-Trump, but then they go to him when they need him.
Right.
Which would be now. Because they need his National Labor Relations Board to, reverse its decision.
Yeah.
And it's very obvious that really they don't care who's in charge so long as they get what they want.
Exactly.
Which, on the other hand, is like stating the obvious because, of course, they would be like that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that Google employees are completely in the right to use.
Of course they are.
Yeah. It's like the fact that like there had to be a ruling by the National Labor Relations Board that said that it was perfectly legitimate and companies couldn't take action against their employees says more about corporations setting that precedent to begin with. Like they need to not do that. And that's why that ruling exists. But the fact that Google is spending like company resources to try and overturn that ruling, and like that would literally strip their workers of their right to organize against company policy.
Yeah, you'd have to use something like Facebook or something. And then they would just they would find out because Facebook would be like, "Yo, Google, look at all these employees," as they sit around, just talking about how, oh, look, everyone is convinced we hate each other.
Well, the fact that like it would have a chilling effect on their ability to organize too. I mean,
absolutely.
It's just
how are you supposed to easily connect all these people you don't even know?
Yeah, it's stupid.
It's mind blowing. Yeah, it's mind blowing. Fortunately, the National Labor Relations Board has told Google to go shove it.
Yeah.
And honestly, one of the reasons it could be is because Google is so anti-Trump since it's his it's currently his administration and he's very petty, as we all know.
Oh yeah.
It could be that's why it keeps getting shut down. So
yeah.
I mean, I like to believe in small miracles like that. So
small miracle. I love the way you described that. Small miracles. That's really funny. Oh,
it's
man.
True.
Yeah, that's funny.
Like, there might as well be something good that comes out of all this.
Right.
And increasing, because I'm not much of a union guy because I know that's going to get so much crap. But hear me out. Most unions cost companies money. And I don't mean that in because that's obvious, but okay, it's like usually when your union gets you more money, your union increases your fee. So really, they don't get you that much more money. That's why, I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not, Gardiner, why, people in California are leaving teachers are leaving unions, quite a bit since that court ruling that you can't force people to be a part of a union. And all the unions are really, really mad, and states like New York and California are literally passing laws to make it hard to leave a union. You know how retarded that is? The government literally saying, no, you can't be part of this union. I find that, one, to be really weird, and why no one questions that to be even weirder. Why would no one question that? And this kind of comes back to this, too. People should be allowed to pick and choose if they want to be part of a union or not, because, honestly, you should do some research on your own and look at how much money teachers in California make and then how much they pay in union fees. It's pretty high.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like you said earlier, where it's both sides are being assholes when it comes to like the government shutdown, and it's like there needs to be a balance between corporate interests and employee interests. There really does, and
it's hard to find that balance, but you can get close to it.
Yeah, and like, so there are benefits that unions bring to the table, and there are benefits that not having a union brings to the table as well. But when you go to one extreme or the other, that's when you start having a lot of problems. So yeah,
they're literally forcing people to be in unions, and to top it off even further, like, they're coming up with like all kinds of crazy ways to keep them in it. And if that doesn't just prove that union is only there to make money from you, then, you know, because that's really all they're for.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there you go. You should do some research on that, by the way, because it'll blow your mind at like how much money California teachers, for example, make, and how much money some of them pay in union fees. I don't think it's 1/3, but it's pretty close to like 1/3 of their whole salary. It's freaking nuts.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and every time they get a raise, like half of it just goes to the union. So it's like, what's the point?
Right.
I mean, yeah, you make X amount more, but why does your union get more every time?
Yeah.
I just don't feel that unions anymore have workers' rights in their best interest. It's just about making money. They're literally just a business now.
Yeah. I mean, if unions had to be like nonprofit, like, and they were only allowed X amount of whatever. I mean, there are solutions to that problem, I think. But I don't know. What do you guys think about this? Do you think what were we talking about? Oh, do you think Google employees have the right to use company email to protest their employees' actions? Let us know in the comments on YouTube, because this one's going to be on YouTube, and also in the show notes if you're so inclined. Forum.heavyelement.io, or you can send us an email, which is show@offtopical.net.
Oh, I like emails.
I like emails too. Hey, Raven.
Yes.
It's time for listener questions, my friend. Woo-hoo. Listener questions are your favorite,
greatest.
And
they
my
are
favorite.
my favorite. Oh, yeah.
So, at DB Mitchell, this is the second question I believe we've answered from DB Mitchell, asks,
Nice.
has anyone had luck playing multiplayer games using Proton with other players who are not using Linux? In other words, can I play Total War Warhammer 2 with my heretical friends?
That particular one, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because there's some bug. I can't remember what it was. Gaming on Linux covered it. There's some bug. I think it's the game itself I think it has like de novo or something that prevents it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty standard stupid stuff.
Yeah.
You know? Yay.
Yeah.
However, there are others. For example, I play Company of Heroes 2.
Oh, that's right. Company of Heroes 2. So Company of Heroes 1 didn't actually, or not no. The native version of Company of Heroes 2 did not work between platforms, correct?
It only works between Linux and Mac.
Oh.
And it's because of the math library they use and the way the pathfinding works. So it gets out of sync because the math over time slowly gets off.
Right.
So it desyncs. So they just didn't bother to allow it at all. And it's funny because there are a few games that suffer from a very similar problem, and the fix is everybody uses the same math library.
Right.
And yeah.
They can't.
That's not going to happen.
They can't port like the one that's available for Linux to Windows.
Well, most of them use that default native Windows math library, and it does math slightly different than like an open source library. If they would just not use proprietary Windows garbage, we wouldn't be in this mess. But I digress.
Wait, how do you like do math differently though? I mean, is it just the algorithm it goes through, or is it?
I don't know. Like they might just do like some shorthand or some other crap somewhere along the way. I've never used that math library, so I don't know. But yes, in theory, you're correct. Math should always be the same. But let's never forget that for like 2 years, Google Chrome said it had the fastest JavaScript engine ever, and it was approximating its math. So,
Right.
you know,
Oh, yes.
we talked about that. Also, apparently, I was wrong. Total Warhammer 2 and Steam Play. Oh, no. That one doesn't work. You know what? I'm going to double check. I'm going to double check for him and make sure that Total War. Let's see. You said Warhammer 2, right?
Yeah. Yes, Total War Warhammer 2.
It is either broken, bronze, or silver. Wow.
That's quite a spread.
Yeah. It has issues with like the server not being reachable. But these test results are all from 3.7-6. And as we all know, there were a lot of fixes in 3.16. So it might work. I say, you know what? Give it a shot. If you have the bandwidth, you know, and you download it in a few minutes like I do, give it a shot. Like, you know, couldn't hurt.
Right. Yeah, give it a shot. Try it out. See.
Yeah, let us know if it works.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I'm a big fan of, like, Company of Heroes and Total War. I mostly play Shogun too, but since I play it by myself, I just use the native version because it actually works better than the Windows version. Although I don't know why. I literally don't know why. I think it might have to do something with the scale form. I don't know. But I get less issues with the Linux version of Total War Shogun 2 than I did when I played it on Windows. So I'm not really sure what that's about.
Interesting.
I mean, it was never anything gameplay breaking, but I would get issues in like the main menu where it would just lock at 30 FPS. Also, funny thing, if I play, because I used to play Company of Heroes 2 natively through a VM and a GPU pass-through. Everybody might like this weird little tidbit. The main menu on Windows, on my machine with my hardware configuration, would run at 30 FPS no matter what. And then here more recently, it would like stutter at the main menu for like a minute. And then it would clear up and it would actually go back to 60 FPS. Have no idea what it was doing. It's not compiling shaders or anything like that. Like my GPU is just idle. So is my processor. They're both just idle, right? The Linux version doesn't do that at all. Like none.
That's
the Proton version also doesn't do it. It's only the absolute native version on Windows that it does it on my hardware configuration. I have no idea what it's doing or why it does it. I'm so confused.
It just so happens to be a coincidence that Windows Update is running in the background. Only at those times when that's happening.
I know. But see, I have Windows 10 Enterprise for my virtual machine. Well, you know, when I have it, I don't need it anymore. But when I had it, I just used because here recently when I've been playing Company of Heroes 2, I've had a separate WIN build and everything for it because it does work just fine in WIN. It has for years. It's just such a pain, but now I can just launch it with Proton and it works just fine. And in my experience, it does run a little better than the Linux build, which is nice.
Yeah.
So
I want to know what everybody else's experience has been. Have you had a game that you have tried playing through Proton with your Windows friends? Let us know the results of that on the show notes, forum.heavyelement.io. At Overclocked Dilama asks, do you trust Firefox/Mozilla now? Now, here's the thing. I want to know, like, have I made it, like, did I make it seem like I didn't trust them? Because I'm kind of like this about them. I'm kind of like shrugging my shoulders. I'm like, meh. I don't not trust them. What do you think, Raven?
No, I don't trust them.
I trust Firefox. I don't necessarily trust Mozilla.
Yeah, that's kind of my stance on it. Like, I use Firefox. My stance is a little more like tinfoil hatty. They took money from an organization that's connected to Media Matters, and Media Matters is an organization that's literally dedicated to controlling the news. So, you know, I don't really trust any organization that wants to control quote unquote fake news and define what's fake news. So, you know, it's cool, guys. My tinfoil hat is like perfectly ready. I have it. It's cool. You don't have to point it out. But yeah, I don't trust any organization that does that. And then to receive money, because they received money like in 2017, if I remember correctly, to build a fake news tool to like weed out fake news. like through like search results.
Mm.
And I'm just like, no. Because honestly, I'm 29 years old. Well, almost 29 years old. I can determine what's, I can build my own opinion, and I don't really particularly like anyone else, telling me what my opinion is. I don't like that.
Okay, I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit.
Oh boy.
I have found that it's not people like us who are susceptible to fake news on the internet.
The people absolutely. Who are, it's the uneducated, right?
And not just the uneducated. And if you fall into this demographic, then I apologize in advance. I'm not saying everyone in this demographic is, but my parents, my mom is 50, my dad is 63. They were raised in an era where you trusted everything you saw that came from a TV screen. Computers and phones to them are just as trustworthy as like the news media was when they were kids. And so when they see an internet meme that short circuits the logic and just appeals to emotion, that's what I mean, dude, that's it just does something to them, and they still have the right to vote. So it's like that kind of stuff.
Everyone has the right to vote. Gardiner.
Not everyone. Some people don't. Felons don't. But like the problem is that like that kind of stuff that short circuits my parents' brains and then they get to go vote based on like these appeals to emotion pieces of shit that people are spreading on Facebook. That kind of stuff pisses me off, and that's where I think the fake news filters actually have a place.
Sure, but my stance is like you could make that argument for every single mainstream news organization, which is all clickbait. So, like my stance on that is well, what if they only block like, one organization, but they don't block the other one? Because then they're just gatekeeping, and then they're determining. Like, I guess my point is who determines what's fake news and what's not fake news?
Right.
Like, are they actually being logical about it and being like, this is BuzzFeed and it's fake because everything from BuzzFeed is fake? Or, is it legitimate news, but I disagree with it and I'm not going to block it, So that's like, that's the thing, Like, that's my problem with it. Like, who is the gatekeeper and why should I trust them? And that's my point. Like, I totally get what you're saying because, trust me, I know people like that too, and it's creepy to me, but
yeah,
whatever. Because it's like you're from the '60s. Why are you so trusting?
Right.
Like what happened? What happened to the '60s hippie movement? It dissolved into a bunch of people who I don't know. I don't know where they went.
Yeah.
But my point is I don't trust the gatekeeper. And like I said, I do get your point because it is a good rationale. Like it's a very good rationale.
Yeah,
I guess some people are way too trustworthy.
Yeah,
but my stance has always been, that's why I made the joke about the tinfoil hat. Is I don't trust other people.
Right.
So
I guess my argument isn't like you're talking about the specific instance of who's gatekeeping and who's making the decisions about what's fake news and what's not.
Yeah, because that's how it would work.
Right. I'm talking about like that there is that problem, and it specifically exists for people like my parents, and I suppose there are people our age too who,
probably
are susceptible to it.
I'm sure we can go on Twitter and find some.
I mean, I think even I am susceptible to that kind of stuff at some point. I go on Twitter and I see a meme, and I have to resist the temptation to just retweet it, and I have to like actually go search for it. And most people don't even know that they're supposed to do that.
Yeah, because there's just too much now. It's too much disinformation.
Yeah.
I guess it's always been there. It's just so easy to do now.
Yeah, it's easy for everyone to do.
Yeah, and then, everybody's tweeting out. It's like that thing, like where you line up and then one person tells one thing and then at the end of the line it's a completely different thing.
Oh, yeah, telephone game.
That's what it's called, the telephone game. It's like that, but instead of just like 10 people talking, it's everybody talking.
Yeah.
Ugh, it's so bad. But to be more specific, outside of that, yeah, I guess I trust Firefox. I trust it more than Google or Chrome.
Yeah.
Like, we want to talk about real gatekeepers, Chrome.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, Chrome is bad. Don't use Chrome. Or Chromium, apparently, because Chromium is also bad now.
Right. I don't trust any of them. Anyway, we kind of got off the subject there. I trust Firefox. Not a fan of Mozilla. I'm necessarily
still using
trust
Firefox,
them.
though. In fairness, I'm still using Firefox.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to stop using Firefox until they do something that like makes me not want to use it anymore.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I've been using Firefox since Firefox like 1.5 or something.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's been that long.
Yeah, I've been using Firefox for a while. The thing is, people give me crap for using Firefox. And I'm over here. Yeah, I'm over here like, yeah, you guys are all over here talking about how bad it is to use Firefox, and you're using a Chromium derivative. So, sorry, bro. That logic isn't sound to me. Anyway, what do you guys think? Let us know in the show notes, forum.heavyelement.io. Send us an email, and we'll read it on the next episode of the podcast. I think that's it for today, Raven.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so. That's everything. Weird. Well, thank you guys for listening. This has been the Off Topical Podcast. He's Raven. I'm Gardiner. Let's do this again soon.